Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely to make it here.
We're in
Tearing down the country lanes. It's a fantastic venue.
We're in deep Suffolk here.
Yes, deep as Suffolk. Okay, we'll kick off with a song called Icy Land. Optimistic song in these slightly odd times. Please sing along. Tossed upon a sea of waves, battered by the bullying storms, lost beyond without a trace, through the lightless night and empty door. What lies behind is a foreign land, though in it I was born and grown. It's been twisted by a grasping hand that wants the whole world for its own. Sometimes a circle, the whirlpool of despair. When they're in the crow's nest, where the watcher stands, with his hand to his eye, he cries, I see land, I see land, rising from the waves to save the weary, lost and damned. I see land, I see land. From an upturned world where black is white, who can see the naked king? The poor are blamed for their own plight. Loud charity trumps everything. But there's a time to heal and a time to bleed, a time to cut the ties that bind, to face the pain that the fear exceeds, a time to leave and travel blind. And when it seems there is no refuge and too much weight to bear, up there in the crow's nest, where the watcher stands, or with a hand to her eye, she cries, I see land, I see land, rising from the waves to save the weary, lost and damned. I see land, I see land. So here's to Gandhi and Dr. King, Emmeline and Rosa too, Bevan and Mandela, it's to you I sing, and all the ones who sail in you. Do we need a leader? Do we need a guide? A far-eyed soul who can see much more, to take us through to the other side? Or is it in ourselves we find that shore? For all those who suffer under the weight of care, up there in the crow's nest, where the watcher stands, in the dark hour of the age, she cries, I see land, I see land, rising from the waves to save the weary, lost and damned. I see land, I see land, I see land, rising from the waves to save the weary, lost and damned. I see land, I see land. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. If you hadn't guessed, that was called Icy Land. Ice, S-E-E. It's nothing to do with Iceland as in the shop. So we are in Suffolk. We're deepest Suffolk, as Lynne has already said. It can't get any deeper than this in Suffolk, Wayfield. We're on the edge of Suffolk in Lowestoft, on the fringes of it. Here's a Suffolk song. It's about Dunwich. Hopefully we all know what Dunwich is. But I'm sure it's not just Suffolk people watching. So in case you don't know, it's the medieval city of Dunwich was the third largest city in medieval England. It was all got washed to the sea. It's under the water now. And on a stormy night, you can hear the bells ringing under the water, allegedly. If you go there now, you'll just find a chip shop, mainly. Church of St. Nicholas, St. John's and St. Anthony's lie broken and buried neath flint-coloured waves. Two proud monasteries prayed for their sanctuary, drowned with a town their God wouldn't save. And the rich and the mighty who ruled over the country, the nobles and tradesmen, their children and wives, high on the cliff they built up their fortunes in stone and in timber. They carved out their lives, and the wind blows, and the seas swell, and the storm grows, and the church bells chime for the proud wealthy city. The seas without pity tore down, tore down. The seas without pity tore down. The streets and the markets throng with the merchants, the festival drum and the banners flown high, through the gates of the dark walls, to the steps of the guild hall, the towers of the faithful, and the spires pierce the sky. And the captains of industry, the lords in their finery, in crimson and purple, with their lives in their hands, where was their power? In the dark, desperate hour, the storm broke and snatched all the wealth and their land, and the wind blows, and the seas swell, and the storm grows, and the church bells chime for the proud wealthy city. The seas without pity tore down, tore down. The seas without pity tore down. Now the bones of a young boy lie bleached on the shingle beach, washed to the shore from the old cemetery. And a few huddled homes sit on the cliff top alone, where even the dead can't sleep peacefully. And the bells of St. Nicholas, St. John's and St. Anthony's lie broken and buried neath flint-coloured waves. Can you hear their sad chimes speak apparent of time? The cold sea pulled down to a featureless grave, and the wind blows, and the seas swell, and the storm grows, and the church bells chime for the proud wealthy city. The seas without pity, and the wind blows, and the seas swell, and the storm grows, and the church bells chime for the proud wealthy city. The seas without pity tore down, tore down. The seas without pity tore down. Thank you. Dunwich, the lost city. Cheers. Oh, what do we do next? It's not done?
Yeah,
okay.
why not?
Well, we better slow it down. Don't want to get too excited and overwrought, do we?
You have to tell us how we're doing for time, actually.
Yes. Oh, okay, good. How old is this barn? Do we know?
Bits of it are older than others.
Ah, there's an interesting.
15th century onwards.
Okay, I was just thinking about, it probably was, around Dunwich at its height. It might have been, yeah. It certainly wasn't built by Persimmon. We know that much. So it's far better built than that. Here's a quiet one. This is a one we don't get out and about very often, do we? So we'll see how it goes.
No.
It's hopefully a song of reassurance, and for anybody who's a bit kind of concerned about things that are going on. And it's written for our daughter many years ago when she was a little girl, and she said, almost kind of said this. So. Look at you, all curled up inside, hiding from your life. You've lost your view, the world seems so unkind. You can't find the light, but the shadows and the shapes that make you feel afraid, from which you can't escape, are all made by your own hand. So try and understand. It's not dark, you've just got your eyes closed. Look inside, search within your heart, you will find the key. You'll see it shine, it lights the way to start, to set your spirit free. And I will keep you safe, the day ahead is clear. Try to keep the faith that you've no need to fear. I know that you are not alone, and it's not dark, you've just got your eyes closed. Thank you very much. It's not dark. Thank you. It was nearly all right. It was okay.
It's a really good song when we've
When we do it frequently.
when we do it frequently.
Change of tone, change of pace now. It's something entirely different. This is a song we've done one from Lowestoft, from Dunwich. This is one from Lowestoft, which is where we live. Dockside Dandy. We'll do a song called Dockside Dandy. It's a newish song. It isn't on any of the CDs yet. And it's about a cultural and fashion phenomena that occurred in Lowestoft in the 1960s, where the the trawlermen, the young men who went out on the fishing boats, for a time liked to dress in really bright clothes. They liked to dress in pinks and lime greens and purples and that sort of thing. And they became known as the Dockside dandies. And anywhere where they fished up in other parts of the country, they'd be recognised everywhere because no one else in the country dressed like that. And in fact, it even gets a mention in the Victoria and Albert Museum because it was such an interesting fashion at the time. So this is a song called The Dockside Dandies. It's all about one of these fellas who runs off with a young woman. It's not really about him, it's about the woman and the people's reaction to her. Actually, is what it's about. It's got a chorus, dead easy, just sing along. You can shout along to this one.
Yeah, join in.
Dandy, dandy. All you got to do is shout dandy at the right time. It must be at the right time.
Doesn't matter.
Here we go. 2, 3, 4. The last they saw her was the first they knew. She left them all in the old town too, on the southbound road heading out of view, on the back of a bike doing 60. They checked her room but her bag was gone, just a note for a fella that read, "Dear John." The gossip went round, guess what she's done? Gone and left, how could she, for a dockside dandy. Poor John had his whole life planned. She'd be the good wife, he'd be the man. He'd asked her old man for a hand. They'd have kids when he was ready. Now he stands in the grid of the terraced town, with the soot of the chimneys and the drizzle dripping down. Scratches his head, he says with a frown, "Why would she leave me for a dockside dandy?" A dockside dandy, as we all know, is a puffed up poser, he's all for show. His creeper boots and his teddy boy suit, thinks he's dressed to kill on his Triumph Bonneville. But he's just a dockside dandy. Dandy, dandy, he's just a dockside dandy. Dad in his chair with his face all red, with a belly of bitter that's gone to his head, says he comes round here, he's bloody well dead. I could have the bastard easy. And Mum at the sink says, "Don't you cuss." She scrubs too hard with a washing up brush. She never was one to make a fuss. She brings the tea in quietly and doesn't mention the dockside dandy. Cause a dockside dandy, as we all know, is a puffed up poser, he's all for show. His creeper boots and his teddy boy suit, thinks he's dressed to kill on his Triumph Bonneville. But he's just a dockside dandy. Dandy, dandy, he's just a dockside dandy. And her old teacher says, "I could have told you so." She's a right little mare back then, you know, always looking out at the class window, never had her tie done neatly. And the girls at the factory all say with a tut, with their arms crossed tight, she wasn't raised a slut. Why go with him, he's all swagger and strut. Her head was turned too easy, he's nothing but a dockside dandy. And a dockside dandy, as we all know, it's a puffed up poser, he's all for show. His creeper boots and his teddy boy suit, thinks he's dressed to kill on his Triumph Bonneville. But he's just a dockside dandy. Dandy, dandy, he's just a dockside dandy. Yeah. And the last they saw her, she was leaving the place, on the back of a bonny with a smile on her face, skirt hitched up, her arms around the waist, pulling herself in tightly to her dockside dandy. And a dockside dandy, as we all know, is a puffed up poser, he's all for show. His creeper boots and his teddy boy suit, thinks he's dressed to kill on his Triumph Bonneville. But he's just a dockside dandy. And a Dockside dandy, as we all know, is a puffed up poser, he's all for show. His creeper boots and his teddy boy suit thinks he's dressed to kill on his triumph Bonneville. But he's just a Dockside dandy. Dandy, dandy, he's just a Dockside dandy. Thank you very much, Dockside dandy. Thank you. All the way from Lowestoft there. Okay, have we got time for one more? Okay, so we'll... yeah, I think so. So thank you very much for listening, for watching. Thank you. And here's a song. We did an optimistic one to start with. This is an optimistic one again, a song called Here Comes Hope. All about how troubles and inequalities and injustices in society can be turned around, and history proves that, and it still could happen today. So, and we need a bit of optimism, don't we? At the right now, we could do with it. Okay. So here we go. Please join in. The seas are filled with ragged sails, with broken hearts sinking fast, though they try to bail. And if they land on that golden shore, will they find peace and a helping hand, or a barbed wire wall, while the men of straw with heads of steam stand behind the lines they draw, as they plot and scheme to shape the world for greed and power, casting blame while the innocent cower beneath the steel rain. But in the desert sands lie two legs of stone, where used to stand a king of kings on a sculptured throne, for time like rain rusts and erodes with every drop the tide has changed, and the heart is stone. So it comes home over that hill with banners and drums and an iron wheel. It comes home over that hill with an open hand, kind and still. For those put down and ridiculed, who stood up tall, who stood their ground for a better world, who were cursed and burned, mocked and maligned, crushed on the hoof. They in turn are the heroes of a later time, with longer sight. Oh, when the age was blind, they shine the light and change the world by changing minds, and their beacons guide how hope prevails against the tide. They took a was far beneath the ragged sail. So here comes hope over that hill with banners and drums and an iron wheel. Here comes hope over that hill with an open hand kind of steer. Here comes hope over that hill. Here comes hope with an iron wheel. Here comes hope over that hill. Here comes hope, kind of steel. Here comes hope over that hill. Here comes hope with an iron wheel. Here comes hope over that hill. Here comes hope, kind of steel. Thank you very much. Thank you.